Namaste. Today on Touch of Light, I'd like to share with you something perhaps a bit more personal, my journey with the autobiography of a yogi. I remember the first encounter I had with looking at a picture of Paramahansa Yogananda. It must have been in the early 1950s. Master might even have been alive at the time, but it was an advertisement in a magazine for Autobiography of a Yogi. And I looked at that picture. I was a little girl and I couldn't read yet, so I was probably 3 or 4 years old. And I remember looking at that picture and just being fascinated by it. I didn't know if it was a man or a woman. I didn't know what the words said all around it, but I remember looking at that picture as though Master were calling me for the first time in this lifetime. Then time went on, and I grew up, no more contact with Master. But then I was going to college and about to graduate, and somebody gave me a copy of the Autobiography of a Yogi. And I began looking at it, and I looked and I thought, that's the face from when I was a little girl. I remember looking at that. And I began reading it and began trying to meditate on my own, not very successfully in either case. I think my mind at that time was too absorbed with finishing college final exams and figuring out what I was going to do next with my life. And so I started reading autobiography, but I couldn't make a heart connection with it, but I kept it. And then a friend of mine sent me a little brochure that was about Ananda meditation retreat in California. I was living in the Midwest of America. And I thought, oh, maybe if I go there, I'll find someone who can teach me how to meditate, and maybe I'll be able to get deeper into this book. Because after all, there was this connection. And so I came to Ananda. This was 1969. And then everything changed. I met Swami Kriyananda, and he was our lifelong teacher, but he was a great saint. And I think one of the qualities of saints is that they give you a taste of their own consciousness, their own devotion. And he awakened in me the love of the Guru, the love of the spiritual path, for which I will be eternally grateful. And then when I sat to read the Autobiography of a Yogi, then I could go into it and I could feel Master speaking to me. And as the years went by, the book became more and more a living reality for me. When I was confused or needed guidance, I would open it up and find, at random, point to a passage, and it was as though he was answering my question directly. And so I just invite you, this book, Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda, has changed the lives of countless people throughout the world. Why don't you try it if you haven't yet read it? See what it does for you. And if you have read it, try it again, because the book is constantly unfolding as your consciousness changes. It was one of perhaps the greatest experience in my life to find that book and come to my Guru's feet.